Hey Alive, happy Sunday and happy training day. My name is Lainey. I grew up at North Hills and got to be in Alive from 2013 until 2018, which makes me old. But I got to catch up with Tim just a couple months ago, and he asked if I could share kind of an update and just hopefully an encouragement to you guys as you get ready for the school year. I know that youth ministry is not always a place where you see a lot of fruit. And so just wanted to hopefully encourage you guys that what you're doing does have an impact, even if it's not one that you see this year or next year or in the next 5, that God is more faithful than we can guess. Like I said, I grew up in the church, grew up hearing the gospel. I remember in 6th grade, I got to go to Woodlands Camp with, I think it was Treehouse back then. I don't remember what it was called, but got to go to Woodlands, and that's really the first place that I'd heard the gospel like clearly presented. The first place that it landed for me. And I remember they did an altar call, and I didn't want to go up because I thought I was already saved and all the things. But I remember that night my brain just couldn't turn off, and I just kept asking myself, like, why did Jesus have to die? Like, he didn't have to prove himself. And I realized it's because he loves me, and if he loves me that much, I want to know him. If I want to know him, and if he is this loving, and if he did just die for me, I actually can have a relationship with him. And so I gave my life to Christ after my 6th grade year at camp completely alone. And I don't think that I told a single person what had happened for years. Honestly, I don't think that I had processed what had happened for years. I was the student at youth group that was really quiet, really closed off, really awkward. I was homeschooled. I just didn't have deep friendships at church. I didn't connect deeply with a lot of the leadership. I had a lot of walls up. But I went to almost everything. And so I would say, like, the Lord still used that time. There were still things that I heard that impacted me, even if there wasn't necessarily clear outward fruit. I remember my very last night at the youth group. It was like the senior send-off, and everyone went around the room and shared their college plans. And then Joe LaPena shared a statistic that 7 out of every 10 people who grew up in church walk away from their faith in college. I think that's the statistic. But a crazy amount of people who grew up in the faith walk away. And that just completely stuck with me, and I think really made me start thinking and just praying, like, Lord, I don't want to weaken. I want to get stronger. I want to know you more. I want to grow. So I prayed for Christian friends. And then one of the first girls that I met in college was a girl who's involved with a campus ministry. She was being discipled. She loved the Lord, wanted people to know him, and was just kind of a bridge for me into what would be the next 4 years of my life in a healthy community, plugged into a local church, being discipled. I feel like God just used college in such a big way in my life, to show me what it looked like to not just have a relationship vertically with him, but to also relate to the people around me, and see how he's working in the world. College was so impactful to the point that when I graduated in 2022, I actually went on staff at the campus ministry, and in 2023 I got to move to Lima, Peru, to partner with a church plant and help pioneer campus ministry in the city. So I've actually been in Peru for the past 3 years. I got to come back to the States a few months ago to raise some support, and I'm actually not with you guys in person today because I just bought my flight to go back to Lima next week. But I think just what I want to share in all of that is, like, if I were to look at me in middle school or in high school, I would have no idea that the Lord was at work. I think he is just so much more faithful than we can see, and more faithful than we can guess. And he uses seeds that we plant. So I think as I'm getting ready to go back to Peru, a verse that just keeps coming to mind is Psalm 127, where it talks about how unless the Lord is the one who builds the house, the builders are laboring in vain. And I think sometimes I read that and I think, like, it's discouraging. Like, I can't build the house. I can't do the work. I can't do it good enough. But I think the real hope of that verse is not me and my work as a laborer as much as it's the fact that God builds the house, and that he is building his house in South America, in North America, in Alive, in college, in all of these places. He is working to build his kingdom. And yeah, I just think that you guys get to be part of something really special in serving him and trusting him. And yeah, I'm thankful that you're there wanting to pour into students in the same way that people tried to pour into me 10 years ago. So wish you guys the best, praying for you guys, and I'm excited to see what the Lord will do.